Hey everybody, I'm Andrew of the Movie Buff Pains, and I'm here with another episode of Andrew's Animation. So today I wanted to talk about my favorite animated films to come out in 2020. 2020 was a very rough year when it comes to movies, especially for movies being released either theatrically or even just onto disc in general. And luckily I was able to get a top 10 put together. I only have maybe upwards of 15 animated movies tops on my list, and I feel like I usually have a bit more than that for a year normally. But with how the world has been lately, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised that the pickings were a little slim this time around. Either way, I was able to get together a top 10 that I'm really excited to share with you. So I'll go ahead and just jump right in. At number 10, I have a DC animated movie, and that is Superman Red Son. Superman Red Son is basically a what-if story. And the what-if is, what if Superman actually landed in the Soviet Union rather than in Kansas? And that means Superman was raised by the Russians, and he does everything for the Soviet Union. It was definitely a very interesting concept, and again, this is one of DC's better entries in their animated stuff in the recent years, and I really found that I enjoyed it. If you haven't checked out a lot of the DC animated stuff, that's definitely one to look into, because it's a self-contained story, and it's just, again, a really cool what-if scenario. And it's not just Superman involved either. There are appearances by Batman and Wonder Woman, and it is a very interesting look at how different Superman's story could have been. At number 9, I have Trolls World Tour. The sequel concerns the further adventures of the trolls, obviously, but it expands upon the world by showing us that there are actually other trolls out there, and they dance to a very different tune. Literally. It is about trolls that listen to various kinds of music. Because if you hadn't guessed it already from the first movie, the trolls we follow are very much into pop and the hits. But they soon realize that there are a lot of other styles of music that are out there, and the trolls that love rock and roll want to kind of take over everything. I wasn't sure what to expect when this sequel came out, but I found myself pleasantly surprised. It was actually a really cute film, very much in the same vein as the first film. The Trolls movies overall are just really enjoyable. I don't have any fault with them, really. They've got great voice casts, they have really fun music, and it's just, of course, a very colorful adventure. This one's been out on disc for several months, so if for some reason you haven't seen this one yet, you should definitely pick it up to watch. It is such a fun film, really cute, and just a good watch overall. Number 8 is A Whisker Away. This is an anime film that is on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, definitely go ahead and watch this one. It is a really nice film. The film follows a young girl who is very much in love with a boy in her class, but she is far too shy to do anything about it. And then she gets the opportunity to turn into a cat, and she uses the opportunity to get closer to the boy as a cat. And of course he really takes to her, and he has no idea the reality of the situation. And as the story goes on, girl and cat begin to mesh together more, and you can't quite tell them apart eventually. And that's a problem, of course. And it launches into a whole different dilemma. I knew next to nothing about this one going in. I really just went off the description on Netflix, honestly. And it intrigued me. And so I popped it on and found myself really drawn into this little world that they created. It really was enjoyable, the animation was really nice. The characters could have been fleshed out a little more, but honestly, for what we got, it was really nice. And it was definitely a cute film. I mean, especially the cats that are involved in the movie. They're all just darling. I mean, I'm a cat person anyways, so of course I'm gonna think that, but it is still a really fun film. If you have a chance to watch that one, I definitely would recommend it. Number 7 is Lupin the Third: The First. I only recently started delving into the world of Lupin. I watched Castle of Cagliostro maybe a few months ago for the first time. I mean, that's probably the best known piece of Lupin the Third there is, just because of Hayao Miyazaki. That got me going down the rabbit hole, and I started checking out some of the anime. And then I heard that they were producing a 3D animated film, the first one they've ever done. And of course, I wanted to check that one out, especially since G-Kids was the one bringing it to America. The movie follows Lupin as he's trying to get a hold of a journal which holds a big secret that could change the world. And of course, other people are after the journal, specifically a group of Nazis. If you know nothing about Lupin the Third, he really gives off kind of Indiana Jones, James Bond kind of vibes. He's a gentleman thief, and it is just really fun to watch him on screen. He just gets up to all sorts of trouble. This movie has a bit of everything: chasing, fighting, banter, just tons to really keep you entertained. And, I didn't know what I was really getting into with the movie. Again, I'd only had a few samplings of Lupin before now, and so I went in trying to have a very open mind, and I had a blast, honestly. It was a really fun film. Again, it just was almost non-stop action, and it really held together pretty well. And the animation was really good too. Very stylized, but also very clean looking, and very detailed. And it was a real fun ride the whole way through. If you get a chance to find that one and watch it, definitely do it. It's a really enjoyable adventure film. Number 6 is Onward. This was Pixar's first film of 2020, and honestly, I didn't know a ton about it going in. Onward follows two brothers that go on a quest to piece together a puzzle left behind by their father. And this all takes place within a fantasy world that begs to the question, what if the fantasy realm started becoming more modern? Electricity is introduced, automobiles are introduced, and just everything is basically the modern world, except it's populated by elves and ogres and centaurs and whatnot. And that really intrigued me. I love fantasy films, so I was very much into the idea of this new spin on fantasy. I thought the story of Onward was really cute, really fun. It had good pacing and had plenty of little jokes, but it also had some more serious tones to it, which Pixar is always known for. And I definitely appreciate those tones. I mean, what else would you expect when you have two boys trying to reconcile and get some closure about their father's passing? It is definitely a good watch, and it's so nice to see the original stories that Pixar comes up with. Sequels to their other works are always fun and all, but I really do enjoy when they do original stories. I think everyone does, because the original stories really show off just how creative they can get with the Disney magic. Onward is pretty readily available just about anywhere and on Disney Plus, so if you haven't seen that one by chance, it is so worth a watch, especially if you like the fantasy genre. There are lots of little Easter eggs towards just fantasy stuff in general, and it is so much fun to try and catch them all. Either way, really good film, definitely worth the watch. Number 5 is Over the Moon. I started hearing about this movie a couple months ago. I'd heard the title before, just here and there online, but I'd never really looked into it. It's a Netflix film, so I was like, oh, it's probably just kind of average, like a lot of their films are. But then I started seeing the banner ads, for your consideration for like the Golden Globes or for other festivals and stuff. And then I was like, oh, well, this must be better than average. So, of course, I had to check it out. It follows a young girl as she's trying to come to terms with a personal tragedy and also trying to accept new people in her life. And I was very much surprised at just how much I enjoyed this film. This is something that's nearly on par with Disney productions. The animation is beautiful, it is colorful and vibrant, the story was nice, There are songs that were really well done. The cast all do a really good job, and there's some very recognizable voices in there. Throughout the whole film, I was just like, wow, I'm enjoying this way more than I thought I would. It was a really fun film. I mean, seriously enjoyable. And the overall quality of the production can't be understated. It really was amazing. Again, just about on par with Disney's work, in my opinion. It was so good. If you haven't seen Over the Moon, go check it out on Netflix right away. Definitely worth the time. It is such a cute film, and I just couldn't look away from the screen while I had it on. It was just really, really good. Number 4 is Animal Crackers. I talked about this movie a little bit in my recent Obscurities of Animation video. If you want a little more info about it, you can go ahead and watch that. I will give just some basics about it though. Animal Crackers is about a man who takes over his uncle's circus, and the secret to the circus's success is an old box of animal crackers. And these crackers are magic, with the ability to turn whoever eats one into the animal they eat. It's a really cute film, far better than I ever expected it to be. It has an amazing voice cast, a lot of recognizable names, and just a cute story overall. The animation is a little middle ground, but honestly, this movie has all the makings that it should have been a theatrical release. But it kind of got pushed to the side and wound up on Netflix without much fanfare at all. If you haven't seen this one, it's definitely worth checking out. It is so much fun. It's really cute, and I just couldn't believe how much I enjoyed the film, honestly. It really is just a hidden treasure of Netflix. Number 3 is Weathering with You. I got the chance to see this one in the theater when G-Kids put it out, and that was really enjoyable. But by the time it came out on disc, it had been long enough that I of course needed to watch it again, and I found I enjoyed it even more the second time. The story follows a young boy who has run away from home, and he is living in Tokyo now. And he meets a girl who has the ability to control the weather. The movie is definitely a mix of drama and romance. It's sort of a coming-of-age story mixed with teenage love, mixed with the drama of, him being a runaway and having to kind of hide out. This really was an amazing film, honestly. This came from the same people who gave us Your Name. I don't think it's quite as good as Your Name, but it comes pretty close. It is such an amazing film. If you haven't had the chance to see Weathering with You, go out and find it. It's an amazing piece of anime, and it is something that I think everyone needs to see at least once. It is just a solid film, solid characters, and just amazing all around. Number 2 is Soul. This, of course, was Pixar's other movie for 2020, and it really was something to watch. The story follows a musician who has a near-death experience, or more accurately, he dies but doesn't want to. So as a disembodied soul, he does everything to not pass on, and he winds up in a place where new souls are preparing to go to Earth. And this is where he meets a soul who has yet to go to Earth, but honestly sees no need to, because what's the point? I cannot tell you how many times I've really felt a connection with the characters in this film, because it goes about trying to show how the gift of life is really amazing and needs to be grabbed onto, and just everything that's possible in this world. It's something that is beautifully done, and Pixar does such an amazing job with this film. I will admit, I went in with a pretty high expectation with the subject matter. I mean, we got Inside Out, which was such a complex film about feelings, emotion, and what you go through, as you're growing up. And it was astounding. So yeah, maybe I went in kind of expecting something similar level with Soul, and I came away a little disappointed because of that, because Inside Out is pretty hard to beat, but Soul comes pretty darn close because it really makes you open up your eyes and just really try to take everything in. Makes you see things with a new perspective in a way. And it was a really amazing film. And I mean, if you haven't seen it, what are you still doing watching this? Go find this movie, go and watch it. It really is something else. And this one just won the Golden Globe for Best Animated Feature. I will, however, say I wasn't quite happy with that win because I wanted something else very badly to win, which transitions us into my number one animated film of 2020. If you follow animated film at all like I do, you probably have a guess at what this film is. If not, then let me introduce you to Wolfwalkers. Wolfwalkers is a movie from Cartoon Saloon. They're the ones that created the movies Secret of Kells and Song of the Sea, both movies that involve Irish folklore, and this one falls in the same vein. This movie was picked up by Apple and is available to view on Apple Plus. This film follows a young girl named Robin who wants nothing more than to live free and go hunting with her father. But they live in a town with very strict rules, and she never gets to go beyond the walls of the town. But her father does, because he has to go and hunt down the wolf pack that's been terrorizing the town. So he goes hunting in the forest every day. Being the free spirit that she is, Robin of course follows him one day, and that's when she meets a girl in the forest by the name of Meb, who turns out to be a wolf walker, someone who, when they sleep, can become a wolf. Robin kind of goes into a free fall into this world of wolf walkers, and she comes to realize that maybe the freedom she's looking for isn't that far away. This movie is phenomenal. I can't even begin to describe how much I love this film. This is probably one of my favorite animated films I've ever seen, actually. I have been a fan of Cartoon Saloon's filmography from the start, and this movie just takes the cake. It is the best one they've put out, in my opinion. The animation alone is astounding. The backgrounds are beautiful. The characters are lively. It has this amazing hand-drawn and hand-painted look to it, even though several mediums were used to create this film. It is such a sight to look at. I cannot take my eyes away from the screen when I watch this film. I've probably watched it 2, maybe 3 times now since it got its release. And one of those times was in the theater, which I was so happy I got the chance to see it on a big screen like that. It was astonishing. It really was. If the animation wasn't enough for me, the story is amazing as well. It's an original story. It is this really interesting piece of folklore, and I could not get enough. I want more about this world. But seriously, the story was phenomenal, and that paired with the animation made for an amazing experience. And it is something that I will probably go back and watch several times in the near future, honestly, because I just cannot get enough of that film. And if you follow my videos at all, you know there aren't a lot of animated films that I gush over. So this really means something, me just going on and on about this. Again, this is probably one of my favorite animated films I've ever seen. If you get the opportunity to watch Wolfwalkers, do so. It is truly an experience. This is the movie that I wish had won the Golden Globe for animated feature. Pixar did an amazing job with Soul. It really is a special film. It hit me right here, honestly. Wolfwalkers, though, there was something so special about it for me. And I can't even put my finger on it, honestly. But it is a film that's going to stick with me a long time, forever, possibly. But it is something that has definitely affected my love for animation in a positive way. And I see just what kind of stuff can be accomplished from an independent studio using a unique style that is very much against what's the norm right now. and to see something that is so original and heartfelt is truly amazing. And I hope that we get more stuff like this, because frankly, we get lots of stuff from Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, Sony, Illumination, and they are great films. They are fun, but sometimes they don't feel like they have nearly as much heart in them as something that is made from a smaller studio. Sorry that I keep going on about it, but I just cannot help but express how much I truly love this film. It is something that has really touched me. And I think the only sad thing to me about it is that Apple owns it, so it's very unlikely that it'll ever get a physical release. If it ever gets the chance, I'll be the first one to pick up a copy for sure. Well, leave it to me to go out on such a sappy note, honestly. So that's my top 10 films of 2020. They're all definitely worth watching, some more than others, if you couldn't tell by the way I was acting over some of those. Let me know down in the comments if you've seen any of these, what you thought of them, or if there are other films that maybe I didn't see that you think are worth checking out. I'm always up for suggestions. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.